All right. So we're just a minute before beginning, but it's a good opportunity to let yourself relax into our time that we have together. Recognize that you have been impelled by something quite divine that is leading you to choose to spend this time. It's very powerful. So, the topic today is happy for no reason. And like all of our topics, really, there's a certain amount of trickiness to it because intellectually grasping any of these themes doesn't necessarily take us there. It facilitates the process, right? But it's only a stepping stone. And the moment you posit the possibility that living life fully means being happy for no reason, you open a whole Pandora box of what is that like? Because even when I reflect on the feeling of being happy, I therefore have then given a certain validation to it, and I've given a reason by noticing it. I hope that doesn't sound like mental gymnastics. But there is something that takes place when an internal recognition of our being consciousness takes place. So I use takes place twice. There's something that takes place when our internal recognition of being conscious takes place. In these spontaneous experiences, when we lose ourselves or are lost into a recognition of being consciousness, there is a inherent, essential, and natural fruit that there is joy. And here I'm using happiness, but I'm using the words interchangeably. It is a natural fruit of the recognition of being consciousness. But we can't mentally say, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm consciousness and necessarily feel happy. We can say, I'm going to recognize that I'm consciousness, do my part to surrender out of my concepts around this, and then experience the joy that goes from that internal wordless recognition. And that can be, thinking about that can feel a little scary. Because what if the surrender doesn't lead us there? I mean, we're coming from a place of belief that to surrender into the beingness of ourselves, that the fruits will be joy, wisdom, peace, insight, freedom, that these will be the fruits. What do we have to bolster ourselves in stepping into the unknown? Because the unknown can't carry baggage with it. It can't say, okay, I'm surrendering so that I experience eternal joy. But there can, in a subtle way, be a certain aligning ourselves with the thousands of years of words that have been given to us and diagrams to say that this is so. It can bolster our surrender, but our surrender can't take that with us as we surrender. And I was reflecting back a little bit on my own childhood, and even though similar to many of us, I definitely had childhood trauma that plunged me into processes of self-discovery and healing in my late teens, early 20s, and all my life. But even amidst that, I can remember so many instances when I was happy for no reason. And literally just happy, not happy because I felt divine, not happy because I was getting sunshine instead of rain, but just an internal movement of happiness. I remember on my 4th birthday, we lived on a cul-de-sac in Cincinnati, and I was skipping, and I was so happy. Now, reflecting upon that, I was happy to what? To be alive. But my mind wasn't going, oh, I'm happy to be alive, and then I'm skipping with joy. I was just happy without a reason. And I remember skipping and skipping and skipping, and I was singing, I'm 4 years old, I'm 4 years old, I'm 4 years old. And there was something with such abandon to just saying that. And even saying that was such a source of happiness. We can call childlike qualities this kind of joy and happiness. Not that we're playing in the sandbox and we get to use the shovel we love. It's a contingent happiness. But the experience of our hands in the sand and feeling joy at the experience. I hope that you can gather the distinction there. And what comes about then as a next step in the reflection is, well, how then can I live more in that state of happy for no reason? Because even oftentimes happiness can come about just when we have an idea of meaning and purpose in our lives, or we feel aligned. But all of these as well are all concepts. They're all setting up a responsive experience. As we awaken, we can all account moments when we're awakening into our being consciousness and the utter freedom and joy that takes place within us in that awakening. There's something where those are a bit more married to each other and less cause and effect. I'm going to read one of my poems that just gives a little texture to this. Touch, dripping across the skin, tenderly and slowly sweeping through the soul. Fingers lace textured pages of a book. The words touch. Wispy clusters of leaves sway upon supple branches. The dance touches. Bright, warm, masculine eyes beneath tousled, reddish-brown hair speak a gracious hello. The embrace touches. The I and the thou continuing their ancient courtship, spilling yes with abandon. So like most of my poems, this was written after I had an experience holding a book. And I can't remember the year, but it was just a couple years ago, and I was in my cute little apartment that was on a lake, and I loved it, and I had this awesome reading chair. And I had a moment of happiness for no reason, of a experience of wordless being consciousness. And when I wrote the poem as a reflection, so not as a mechanism, but as a reflection, there were 3 other memories that came about that are from different time periods. A time when a touch touched my skin and swept into my soul. A time when clusters of leaves touched me with a dance. A time back in 2004 when a man that I felt a connection with said hello. And obviously what I'm reflecting on here is these 4 instances of happiness really for no sought reason was and is the continuing ancient courtship That happens how? A yes with abandon, a yes with abandon. So one thing that can be a step towards this experience is yes with abandon. And you can use this as optional homework. How can I speak a yes with abandon today? In small ways, in big ways, in practical ways, in immaterial ways. One way that supports me in this yes with abandon is really opening up to all the guides and angels, spiritual friends, because there's something about the way they come into my life story and in my work with others, they seem to come in, that has a quality that we call divine play. There's something so light about the way they infuse their presence and communicate messages. It's not like, come on, get it. It's more like push blowing within the soul. And just a couple days ago, I happened chance to cross a track that I love the intro to, and it billowed like clouds within my soul with this divine play. Because I'm not Christian in a traditional sense of a word anymore, I don't listen a lot to that music. And one of the tracks, I love the worship music though, and one of these tracks came across my plate, and it starts out like this. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And hearing it was like these clouds. Like if you see cumulus clouds when they billow up in the sky, my whole being was filled with that and a happiness for no reason. Obviously, it's built in from story, from good memories, from familiarity, from the love of the word Alleluia. So I've got these constructs made up in my psyche that were available to it. But what if the constructs within our being were available to this in every single way? Yes, with abandon leads us there. So what I thought for our mantra today that would be very powerful for us is a very familiar one to many of us. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And let me remind you of the translation. Obviously, you can take it from so many different places. So loka means, and this is Sanskrit, universe or realm or location. It's the origin of location. So it's got that esoteric of a point that's identifiable and no point that's identifiable. Samasta is towards all living beings, all living beings. Sukhino technically means freedom from suffering, but here in this mantra, it's ease and happiness and peace and goodness for all living beings. And Bhav, if you hear people who are really into kirtan and Hindu forms of spirituality, they're like, I'm in the bhav, meaning I'm in the union, I'm in the juice of the universe, of the divine, the energy. And Antu is like many of the Sanskrit mantras, it's just a bowing to let it be, and so it is. It's that kind of gesture. So we've got Loka, Samasta, Sukhino, Bhavantu. And this will be a new way of chanting it, not to me. And one of our kirtans here actually chants it with this tone. But if you've chanted it with me in the past, I have not used this on a recording. To set the stage for this, because we're going to just simply open to abandon with the mantra, I'm going to draw a divine master, since they so want to play with us. So let's all, wherever you are, whether you're on the call live, whether you're listening to this in the privacy of your own time, let's all hold intentions for a moment so that the divine master we're meant to hear from today can come forward, and we will have the recognition. All right, well, interesting. We've got Melchizedek, divine knowledge, which really allows the reflection parts of this series to come through. And it encourages us to commit to, each of us to commit to our vision through study. So, okay, let's read the message. You are being encouraged to dive into spiritual study. Don't skim the surface, go deeper. For therein lies important information that will support you in taking your path and skills to the next level. There's a good chance that you may want to get out there with what you know, but the universe wants you to study more before taking any leap into the unknown by way of your mission in the world. Start with the unknown in the study, then move to the unknown in the world. When you study, you demonstrate how committed you are to a spiritual path. And when you are committed, the universe will present you with opportunities that will take you further along your path and toward a feeling of fulfillment and purpose. If you're intending to work in a particular field, ask yourself if there's anything you need to read or study. Follow what springs to your mind. So there's happiness for no reason. Follow what springs to your mind. Okay. So we're going to jump in with our mantra today. We may or may not get through the entire mala, but we're opening to yes with abandon for ourselves and for all creation. I invite you now to close your eyes. Inviting in a breath and releasing, letting yourself just exhale anything you're holding. Inviting in a breath and releasing. And we begin inviting in a breath. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Loka samasta samasta sukhino bhavantu loka 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 samasta sukhino bhavantu, 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 loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Stay in the energy of the mantra in the silence. As we bring this meditation and reflection to a close, I invite you to place some intention for yourself based on this reflection. An intention for how you would like to be today. Or what you would like to experience. When you're ready, open your eyes. Just give you another little amazing close-up of the powerful constellation of energy that we are a part of. There is symbolically and sacred geometry-wise a sense of divine knowledge being represented in the halo-like drawing that's around Melchizedek's head. All right. Great to be with you. Have a wonderful day.